always the maps, even in the lunch break. But it is not merely driving himself for the sake of driving himself. It is part of a very deliberate method of working. First, he listens to anyone who approaches him with a problem. Then he makes himself take time to think about the problem on his own. He will then propose a plan. Sometimes he will suggest a scheme to the government and leave them to implement it. Sometimes he will start an experimental project which he will initially finance himself. Increasingly, his pilot schemes are developed for general use throughout the country. There is often a lot more walking than this. Before the days of helicopters, much more walking still. Many of the villages can only be reached after walks of 3 or 4 hours. It is necessary to keep fit. The Queen can swim a mile without discomfort. All the royal family jog regularly, the King most often late at night after finishing work. Their energy is physical as well as mental. It has now been discovered that the north of Thailand can grow a vast variety of crops. Coffee is one of them, and coffee growing is developing rapidly. The King is now visiting a Meo village. The Meo are the largest in numbers of the hill tribes. There are about 50,000. Which are subdivided into green Meo, black Meo, white Meo, red Meo, and striped Meo, so called from the colors of their skirts. Not all these subdivisions live in Thailand. As with other hill tribes, they are also found in Burma. The hill tribes of Burma and Thailand have far more in common with each other than either do with the countries in which they have been deemed citizens by map-drawing politicians. Up here, the King has worked very hard to encourage them to abandon their nomadic life and settle down as Thai citizens. The spotter aeroplane is always overhead in case of trouble. The problem with this country and so much of the north is not naturally poor soil, but erosion. The semi-nomadic tribes slash and burn the forests, cultivate their own patch until the soil is exhausted, and then move on to destroy more of the valuable teak forests. The erosion of the hills is causing floods in the plains. The main traditional crop of all the hill tribes is the opium poppy. The juice is extracted from the unripe fruit. Care must be taken not to slit right through, or the juice will flow inside and be lost, and also stop the seeds from ripening. Most of the opium is processed into heroin, but very little of the huge profits that the city middlemen get come back to the poor peasants who grow and smoke the opium. These people have smoked opium for centuries. They see nothing wrong with it. Indeed, it has been said that this kind of opium smoking is hardly more harmful than smoking tobacco. Furthermore, it is often used as a painkiller. The King refuses to punish the hill tribesmen as lawbreakers. Instead, he is very concerned to persuade them to grow alternative crops which can be more profitable than poppies. The King conjectured that the flowers and fruit trees of the temperate zone could be grown successfully in these upland regions of Thailand. He put experts to work, and it was discovered that he was right. Whether it be flowers such as carnations or fruit such as apples, peaches and strawberries, the produce will sell for far less in Bangkok than imports from Europe or America, and yet still earn the hill tribesmen a greater profit than they would get from opium. They even export bulbs to Holland. Schemes have also been started whereby plants are grown to a certain stage in these cooler uplands, which makes for stronger stock, and then transplanted to the plains, where they mature more rapidly in the greater heat. Such schemes, started by the king, are now backed by the United Nations as part of the war on drug production. They not only increase the hill tribes' prosperity, but also increase the opportunities for cooperation between the hill tribes and the Thais who live on the plains below them.
Isn't it true that most of the heroin, which is smuggled out of Thailand, actually comes across the border from Laos and Burma, and whatever you do with your projects, you still can't control that?
The role project can do to not to stop but to improve the situation is that so that the people here, many of them are the hill tribes, they have friends or they have relatives all over the route from Yunnan to Tibet and down to our country here. It's a long way and they walk. They have communication, very good communication. Apart from what you can see in the mountains, there's something you cannot see. It's the spirit of these people. They come and go and they say that there's the King's project. They spread the information. They are better than the information service of Bangkok. If we postulate that the opium is grown outside of this country and the heroin factories are outside of this country, only the trade comes through. Why should we go on helping these people to grow lettuces, if you want, or strawberries? Well, we have the opium or the narcotics problem is only one, as I told you at the beginning, it's only one of the aspect of the problem or say the task we have. The other task is to give these people a better way of life. So this we continue, even if, and I don't think it is very near future, if the opium is eradicated like smallpox has been. We have to continue this program for a long time so that we give these people a better life and also so that everyone will get the benefit of it.
Is the king's life at great risk on these trips? A member of the royal family, Princess Wipawadi Ransit, while traveling by helicopter to a remote village, was shot down by insurgents and killed. The king's helicopter is painted in conspicuous colors. Princess Sirinthorn told us, "The insurgents shoot up the village on the day before we arrive and the day after we leave, but not on the day of our visit." That's how it is at the moment, anyhow. The royal family use helicopters to visit the more isolated parts of Thailand. Frequently on such visits, they perform life-saving service by removing sick people to hospital, or in the case of a border raid such as this, lifting out the dead and wounded. The king's work among the peasants takes him closer and closer to sharp personal danger. One day, perhaps, there will be communist insurgents who would not care much about murdering a king. There is all sorts of danger anyhow. Vietnamese troops on the border, communist subversion inside the country, and refugees in their hundreds of thousands putting strain on those who have to feed them, and offering ideal cover for communist infiltrators. One of the king's many hobbies is firearms, and amongst other things, he has designed a gun mounting for helicopters. Is the time coming when he will have to put this knowledge to practical use?
พวงดอกไม้เบ่งบานสะล้อนฟูงพมรแม่
The lotus, most famous flower of Thailand, a symbol of purity because its roots grow free of earth's corruption.
มาสู่บ้านตูผู้แน่สัตว์เข้าสู่ซอง
A symbol of Buddhism, a symbol of meditation, a symbol of peace. And this is what is being threatened, the right of a peaceful nation to continue at peace.
ลำกิ่งเอิงไว้วันด้วยแนวดอกพิกุล
Even the Thai communists feel awkward about Buddhism. They mostly say at the moment that Buddhism and communism are compatible with each other. But Laos and Cambodia, where the temples have been destroyed and the monks killed, no different. Here the king is dedicating a chofar for a temple. This is a gable ornament in the form of the Naga, the sacred serpent and protective spirit. Devout Buddhist himself with his whole family, the king is patron and protector of all religions in the country. All religions which, so he believes, lead to the one truth. But it is Buddhism which is the central energy of the king. In addition, there is the hard fact of political survival. Buddhism is the most important unifier of the Thai people. Its defense is Thailand's justification for resisting communism. The king is also immensely important as a unifier of the people. As a central element in Thai Buddhism, the king strengthens the nation by reminding it of the nature of its soul. All this is threatened, not because the Thais wish to abolish it, but because communist imperialism wishes to destroy it, and the West is either indifferent to its destruction or too weak to prevent it. Buddha's birthday. His Majesty and Her Majesty praying in the temple of the Emerald Buddha, the soul of the Thai nation, the unifying center of the various forces of the country, army, religion, government. Without this, dare we say, the Thai nation would no longer be the Thai nation, but merely a province of some totalitarian Southeast Asian empire. The king leads a procession of candles 3 times round the temple of the Emerald Buddha. Throughout the country, the people follow him, in candlelit procession 3 times round the temples, all over the country. It is odd to see Buddhists, whose religion is one that has no God, performing ritual acts like procession and prayer, which look so like the ritual acts of Christianity. Christianity describes the history of the world in terms of a battle between good and evil. It is therefore to be expected that Christian countries should have been torn apart by wars. But here there has been no philosophy to say that men must be converted even if their bodies are destroyed. That is, until the communists came to Cambodia, a country where, until a few years ago, such sights as these could also be seen. Buddhist morality uses the concept of merit-making. I make merit for myself by performing acts of charity to those around me. Then my next life will be a more pleasant one. So the king acquires merit for himself by feeding the monks as part of the ceremonies of Constitution Day. All monks must beg for their food every day, thus offering opportunity for the people who feed them to acquire merit. A monk, incidentally, eats only twice a day and must not eat after noon or before dawn. General Kriangsak, the Prime Minister, attends the ceremony, which celebrates the abolition of absolute and the creation of constitutional monarchy. More or less every male Thai, kings included, becomes a monk for a short time in early manhood. A standard length of stay is 3 months, during the rainy season between June and October, which is a kind of Buddhist Lent. The king spent 2 such weeks as a monk in 1956. On his entrance into the order, the king spoke to the nation and said, "From the training which I have received, as well as out of my own personal belief, it is my view that Buddhism, which is our national religion, is one of the great religions of the world. Buddhism teaches men to achieve good conduct and is rich in veritable precepts which are logical, highly impressive and inspiring. When a king is a monk, he is not obliged to beg his food from commoners. But King Bhumibol waived this rule and went out into the streets just like any other monk. The 4-year-old crown prince visits his father during his stay in the order. In 1978, at the age of 26, the Crown Prince also became a monk for 2 weeks. Like his father and the kings before him, the royal monks lived in Wat Bawanaway, King Mongkut's temple.
Why did you become a Buddhist monk for a couple of weeks?
I want to find out, I want to study. I want a real touch in, you cannot know or fully aware what it is like unless you become one. It's a start point. It's opened the doors into the world of Buddhism. It sort of wakes you up a bit. First 4 days, 5 days, it's very difficult. Normally you live a life of a layman and you suddenly change into a restriction of rule of 227 rules. So you feel a bit close in.
Do you think that a king of Thailand will always have to be a devout Buddhist?
I think that is essential because Buddhism has governed our way of thinking. Buddhist teaching and the rule of governing the country for the monarchy, hundreds of years, thousands of years. It is a law anyway that the king must be Buddhist. Like in Britain, the Queen must be Church of England, cannot be Catholic or anything like that. Same.
The monarchy is the soul of the Thai nation. As the king arrives at this temple to pay respect to an old monk, respect to his purity and peace, the noise of the spotter plane, reminder of the king's constant danger, of Thailand's constant danger, grows louder and louder.
Your Majesty, how important is Buddhism for you, the precepts of Buddhism in your daily life as king?
Buddhist thought is rather complex and has many grades. There's the grade of Buddhism in the highest level is to attain absolute purity, which you call selfish motive, and that is true. It is selfish, purely selfish. But to attain this purity, you must do everything that is not selfish, which for you perhaps is a paradox. One must sacrifice, one must discard everything that one thinks that is one's own. Charity is one way to discard.
How important is meditation as a part of this process?
Meditation is a process that is very important because first you must have concentration. You must concentrate your mind so that you have a peace that is perhaps not lasting, but a peace in which you can see many things. To have the peace, the real peace, and then with this peace you will be able to see very clearly.
Usually my husband would come in earlier than I would and really meditate, because he could control his breathing and he could really concentrate. But I cannot concentrate and meditate yet. I'm learning. I only pray. But my husband said it's all right. That is the same thing as meditating.
Is it possible to be a practicing communist and a sincere practicing communist and also a sincere practicing Buddhist?
What do you call sincere practicing communist?
The man who believes in communism.
The man who wants to be on the top.
Well, a man who sincerely believes in a communist principle of doing things.
We have sincerity is difficult to define. You may be sincere, but you may be wrong. So I don't know what is this word sincerity doing here. Practicing communist, usually the one who practices politics in any doctrine wants to get that on the top. If you think of Buddhism, one doesn't want to be on the top, because there's no top, there's no bottom. It's just pure purity.
I'm never afraid for my life, because I believe in what the Buddha taught us, that never dwell in the past, never look at the future, doing your best now, and then you can be sure that the result would be good. So I pray every day for the strength to go on and work hard for the benefit of the Thai people.
Do you both believe in the idea of original sin, that every person is born with some kind of sin? Your Majesty,
There's no sin. There's no sin because as I told you, there is the original purity, which has been spoiled by or covered by what we call sin. This is just the opposite. It is the original purity, the original thing that is light, it is beautiful.
It's extraordinary when your mind is at peace, tranquil, then you don't feel the tiredness so much. you don't mind the pain or tiredness. Just like the monk, the one I have here, he died of cancer at the throat. I asked him whether he feel the pain or not. He told me that if your mind is tranquil, then you don't feel any pain, not at all. You feel only that you have done the best of your life for the others. He said that's the only way to achieve happiness.
How do you both reconcile your faith in Buddhism with its emphasis on not taking life, no bloodshed, with your role as head of the armed forces of an army and its campaign at the moment?
This is a problem. This is a problem, but when a soldier holds a gun, this gun should be intended to shoot. And shoot what? Shoot an enemy. That is a living being. But if he holds that gun with the intention of guarding, preserving his country, with this intention, he is not sinful. And even if he has somebody who comes and it's the enemy, he must shoot. He has to shoot. Why? Because he has the intention of guarding his country, of preserving his country. And, by the way, also the religion. If the enemy comes, the country is gone, is destroyed, there's no religion and there's no good.
Loving kindness is the real thing one should give to other person. To give, not to take only, to give, to love. So that's the reason my husband and I can work year after year, day after day, without being ill. But we know that when it's time to die, nobody can escape. So it's better that we contribute as much as we can to society and reserve some small limited time for us. At first, I was very much afraid of death. But later on, I met a great teacher, a monk, who told me never to be afraid of death because it's natural occurrence. If you have good intention towards the others and you have done all you can do for your country and for human beings, even if you died, your soul or spirit or mind will be in peace.
Puttha